Hi, Michael.
Michael,
Good evening. Sorry, I got to
Good evening.
unmute.
good evening. No problem. We all do that. There's an executive session going on and they usually run over a few minutes, so don't be surprised if you have a little wait.
Not a problem. All good. I'm just squeezing in anyway.
Okay, all right.
Hi, Diane.
Hi, Michael.
What's going on?
How you doing?
Good. Good. Long day. I was in Golden today. I was and went all day. It's unusual.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is unusual.
Yeah. I had an event with a bunch of juveniles and a bunch of juvenile tickets got issued. There was, so, those take a while
Yeah,
to work through. Yeah.
a thing.
And you?
Hanging in there.
Yeah. Did you guys get rain up there this weekend?
Oh, boy.
Saturday, it poured.
Yeah. It's glorious.
Hey, was it Saturday night, Diane? It poured for, it seemed like,
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
yeah.
Beautiful rain.
Yes, and some little bit of thunder and lightning. Not too much, but
Just like back in the days of old.
Yeah, that's what I was
it would
thinking,
be up the couch.
It reminded me of when I was a kid growing up, how it seemed like in the summertime, we'd get a shower 3 or 4 o'clock almost every afternoon.
You know what? You have taken a very exact thought out of my head because I'm remembering precisely the same
Yeah.
thing here in Idaho Springs. It was very common for afternoon rains in the summer.
I don't know when that changed. Not in the 90s, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just hoping it's not my memory going.
It's not true.
Jonathan Bordoni.
How are you guys?
We're doing good. I didn't know if you'd recognize the name Jonathan.
Yeah, we answer to anything.
Do you? When you're public works director, it's probably a good idea.
Are they showing signs of winding up, Jonathan?
No, I don't think so. Me,
What time is it?
Andy hasn't, he just texted me that it will run late.
Of course.
When they give themselves 15 minutes for an executive session with the attorney, I'm thinking, who is doing that?
I agree.
Wildly optimistic.
I mean, her clock is ticking, isn't it?
Oh, you bet.
15 minutes is only like half price.
It's after dinner time. I don't know, Jonathan. How do you guys charge?
I think they bill in 6-minute increments now.
Is that
I don't
right?
know that your attorney does, but I think like the downtown Denver lawyers,
Oh,
they
man.
bill in 6-minute increments.
Oh, my gosh.
What am I gonna do in 6 minutes?
Oh, you know John Moy?
That
Boy,
certainly
Mike.
does sound familiar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was on the staff at DU and the faculty there.
Wow.
No, anyway, he was the I know him through Yargo primarily, but he has Parkinson's apparently really bad. He just shut down his practice not too long ago, and yeah, it's really sad. He
Oh,
used to be a DJ of all things.
oh really?
He knows his tunes. Old tunes, I might add.
Back when he was making an honest living, right?
Well, I don't know about that. Anyway, no, an awful lot of attorneys know him because he was on the faculty there. So
To you. Yep.
where did you graduate from, Michael?
I went to Colorado State undergrad.
Uh-huh.
I studied, and then I went to Tulane Law School down in New Orleans.
Okay, right.
My actually had a kind of a family connection there. My father had gone there, my granddad, and my mother thought that I needed a little bit of taming. She thought if I was exposed to some of the more cultured part of the family, then maybe I would come
A little
back.
refinement, perhaps.
Yeah, a little refinement. Yeah, I'm not sure it worked, but it was a nice. 3 years in New Orleans was a lot of fun, and I was ready to leave. By the time it was over with, I was ready to go. It was fun though.
Got the wild times out of your system a little bit, perhaps.
Yeah. Have you ever been down for like Mardi Gras, or have you been down to
Not
the
Mardi
French Quarter?
Gras, no.
Oh, it's
It was,
just crazy.
The Air Force had me in northern Florida and Mississippi for a while, so we got over to New Orleans for quite a lot, but not
Yeah.
at that time. Not during a really fun time.
Well,
But,
it's Mardi Gras should be on most people's bucket list, but anymore it's a pretty obscene gathering, you know.
right. Well, one of my buddies got stabbed with a screwdriver down there one night and robbed.
Wow,
And
that's not good.
yeah, we weren't with him, so he may have just gotten himself in a bad situation, and he probably wasn't totally sober, and knew what he was doing. So
That
to say, you may have, for all we know, that guy might have picked a fight, which was a mistake.
that is one thing about New Orleans, is that you can be in a safe block, and you go 2 blocks the wrong direction, and all of a sudden the world has changed.
Yeah, and you
It's-
go around the corner.
Yep, like,
Yeah,
whoa.
that's
Yeah.
truly, absolutely true. Yeah. And yeah, you need to sort of know the lay of the land down there. Don't want to be a newbie wandering around without some local help.
Jonathan, what's your dog's name?
Champion.
Champion.
Everybody in meetings all the time.
That's a rather humble name.
Yeah, there was a dog in a TV show about government that was named Champion, and so that's his namesake.
I like it. He looks like a good mutt.
Yeah, he's a Catahoula hound dog, and he acts like a hound dog too. He cries all the time and sleeps. That's pretty much his life right there.
You look slightly double jointed behind you there.
The funniest ways.
Lanky.
All right, I don't have a timetable for how late.
Yes, Abigail, and if it's not, I don't know where it is. Everything's in the bag, okay? And we're good up. We're good up there, up top.
Oh, Gareth. Gareth, we're waiting for the council to get out of an executive session, and they typically run a few minutes late, so don't be surprised.
Yes, yeah, it was the same last week or last meeting, right?
Yeah, I was ejected out of that one as well, so I accept rejection. Well, good thing.
Are they talking about the Argo again?
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful day up in Idaho Springs today. It's hard to beat a day like that.
Yeah, good way to walk downtown for a familiarization tour.
Nice.
Michael, the company that's going to be doing the downtown master planning for the pedestrian mall or Minor Street Market was familiarizing themselves with downtown today.
Nice.
And so it was really a pleasant walk, actually. And so anyway, we're looking at probably, would you say, Jonathan, a year-round pedestrian mall downtown. The merchants seem to be totally on board doing that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because they didn't used to think that way, but now they do.
I think it's brilliant. I mean, when they shut it off, I told Andy, said, you guys need to keep that shut off. I just think that's really smart.
Yeah,
Um,
interesting. The Chip Bear of Bojo's and Tom Eaker of Canyon Trading and a few others were diametrically opposed to losing any parking on Minor Street, and now they're kind of champions of it. And it's an amazing turnaround. I guess if COVID had to have a silver lining, as minor as it is, we were the recipients of it in this regard, anyway.
Yeah,
that's-
it's interesting how every town's different, because Breckenridge voted against it, which is really surprised me.
You really?
Yeah,
I'm shocked at that.
yeah, I was very surprised about that.
Yes, that's maybe your biggest Colorado account up there. I don't know, but I know you're very familiar with that area.
Right,
Nice.
right. Yeah, and then Crested Butte is doing sort of a one-way street with patios on one side, so they're just keeping it up open for one way. So
Mhm.
everybody's got a different way of doing it.
Wow. Very
Well,
interesting.
and Breck has that expressway around. They built that, to the west around the city, around the town, so that I thought they built that just so that they could close that whole place up.
Yeah, and like a lot of those restaurants double their seating, right? Because they would block when they block, like they did it last summer. But I guess they really feel they need that drive up traffic, I guess.
I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's a great idea for your city. I hope it happens. I think it should happen. I think it's just a good idea. There's something about the walk-in mall. There's something about a walk-in mall that people like,
If you do it right.
Yep.
So many have failed. And I've been a long-time student of streets converted to pedestrian malls. And then about 200 out of the 225 notable ones in the United States are utter failures or struggling, or they've been converted back.
Geez,
So
well,
about 11% that have been successful.
well, don't listen to my advice then.
No, I think you're right on. No, that wasn't my point, Michael.
No, I mean, I'm shocked. I thought that they would work. I thought the people didn't want to do them.
You know what? The ones that are successful or famous in 16th Street and Pearl Street in Colorado are two of them, and Charlottesville and Burlington, Vermont, and all those. And so there was a huge library about what not to do, and we got it. We know what not to do. I think this has the possibility of being the third big success in Colorado. I really do. And so we'll see. We're off and running as of today.
Yeah, it's interesting how 16th Street malls really is still such a problem in Denver, right? It's just
Yeah.
They just can't seem to get it right.
And now they're redoing it big time.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, they've tried everything, but it just seems to attract all the homeless people, and it just
yeah, it does. It's a success. It's still a reasonably financial success, but it's had huge struggles, and I think it's not improving. Let's put it that way. But you're absolutely right.
yeah.
There's challenges for sure.
I wonder if it's because they have the the buses going up and down it. If that
Yeah,
attract-
transit mall. I don't know. Have no idea.
yeah.
But I have a
But
lot of
you don't even want to go there like after 7 o'clock at night, right? It's like it's not enjoyable.
pretty bad. And I think that's part of the redo of the whole thing is to kind of turn that around. But it's going to take more than streetscape to escape that. That's for sure.
Totally.
Yeah, like even right now, like just going to get lunch on 16th Street Mall is a little sketchy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
where's
a
that,
shame.
Pearl?
16th Street.
Oh, 6. Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, you're right on with that.
It's been so long since I've been down there. I used to work at the building right next to that Capitol when I was in the AG's office, and gosh, I'd go down the mall all the time. And it was really only after dark that it was
Right.
kind of like, yeah.
Oh,
But now
daytime,
it sounds like, ugh.
I think daytime is good even now. And that's, well, it's pre-COVID when I was there last, for sure, probably a year and a half. And it seemed pretty good then, but I mean, just read the news and you know you don't want to be hanging out there at
Yeah.
night. So
Yeah, there's a real homeless problem right now, that's for sure.
I have a lot of relatives around Buffalo, New York, and Buffalo is one of the earlier malls, and they're converting that entire big project back to traffic now.
Huh.
And been a number of others, quite a large number, actually. So one thing, Idaho Springs is bite size. I like that.
Yeah, I also think because it's a destination, right? So
Yeah.
people are going there for an experience and they want to walk around. It's not the kind of place where you're just, popping into a store for 15 minutes. So, right?
You're
So
right.
I think that's why it makes a lot of sense.
I was in City Hall though this morning for a 9 o'clock meeting, and I happened to look out the back window, and two homeless guys came with their bedrolls out of the tender behind the locomotive and hopped down to the ground and walked east. So I mean, it's a problem, and I mean it's a problem. These guys, who knows what their background is, but I was really surprised to see that. But those guys spent the night in the train,
Huh.
and so in the coal bunker. So anyway, it's a start of a new thing. I think the big effort going forward for the next year, and again, another administration, is workforce housing. And that is such a huge issue. But it's interesting that at the Walmart in Bergen Park, that there are people that are panhandling, and on one side is a help wanted sign with like $18, $19 hourly rates for Walmart, and another one on the other side for McDonald's at, I can't remember, it was like $16, something like that. And these people panhandling in between these two signs. It's utterly insane. I hope that photograph goes viral. It's quite amazing.
We have quite that issue in Golden, because they come to the end of the train there, and then there's the river, and they camp along the river there. I think it's a challenge in all the municipalities along the Front Range. Really is.
Oh, actually, yeah. I bet wherever any of us go, we see the same thing. Certainly up in Seattle and Oregon, I've seen it, and Buffalo. So, yeah, and there's, a story behind all of them, often drugs, of course, but or mental illness. So it's, it's a complicated problem for sure. But being a little postage stamp community, we can't solve the big problems. We might tackle a little bit of it here, but I don't even know how to go by some of it. The police department and the local churches, et cetera, have dealt with the issue for a long time. And we do have a lot of younger people in the summertime that camp out in the woods, and they're rafting guides and whatnot. And they're hopefully not long-term homeless, up through middle and older age. And they're still a problem. They like to party and leave a mess everywhere, but there's some places. But anyway, it's an issue here that Idaho Springs has tried to tackle, and but it's just piecemeal.
We are live streaming, everybody, just so those of you new to the call know, we're streaming on the internet.
Okay. Anyway, it's really an issue for sure. Gareth, I'm wondering, are you familiar with what any other small towns in Colorado have done in terms of their main street where they may have expanded their restaurants out?
Say that again. I didn't hear the last part.
I'm just wondering, some of the streets that have made pedestrian mall, some of the towns around Colorado that have made pedestrian malls, is there a general trend of what the towns are doing to either go back to traffic like they had before, or to keep a pedestrian mall, or a combination?
Yeah, it seems, the most prevalent is to go like a one-way street and then, have patios on one side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they still keep the traffic for deliveries and whatnot. A lot of towns don't have the back alley delivery like IS does. So that's always a concern.
So the traffic goes all day then there. I mean, the one way delivery is okay.
Yeah, that's what Crested Butte's doing. So,
okay.
The interesting thing with that though is if you're a restaurant and you don't get the side with the patio, you're not very happy, right?
Yes, could see that.
Yeah. So one of the things we've had some initial talks, or they've been talking about, is like rotating it. So every other year, it'll be one way, one side, and then the other side the next year, so that it's fair to the restaurants.
Yeah. We have the unique situation here that the blocks on the south side of Minor Street have that sunny side with the alley, the mall behind them. So
right.
So they can get the extra seating out there.
Yeah. No, being on the south side definitely is an advantage. That's for sure.
Jonathan and I did some of you have heard this, I think maybe all of you had, that we did an inventory on restaurant seats, downtown only, and this is pre-COVID, before all of the exterior or outside seating and no bar seating at all. But we have just shy of 2,100 restaurant seats in downtown Idaho Springs, and that's 3 block stretch.
Wow.
It's an amazing number, frankly.
Yeah, when you think about it, every Saturday and Sunday, that's pretty much full and turning, right?
Yeah. Yeah, between Bojo's and Tommy Knockers, they are half of it, but
right.
Still some other pretty big restaurants there.
Yeah. Well, Westbound's got to have quite a few seats.
They do, yeah. They're the next largest one for sure, and I don't remember the numbers, but I didn't think it would be quite that high, to tell you the truth. We have a lot more restaurant seats than we do people living in town. I don't know what it means, but there you go.
Right. Well, you're right. I mean, the workforce housing is a huge issue. I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah. The city is looking at, the city owns quite a few small parcels around town, and I don't think it's any secret, but we've just been looking at them informally to see if we can, incentivize developers to build, duplexes, fourplexes, whatever, for workforce housing, probably often pretty small studio apartments or maybe 1 bedroom, but disperse them around town because we have those little plots available. And Chuck Harmon on the city council counted up 70 some of those parcels. Many of them are outside the city limits, but it was a stunning number. So we're taking a look at them and see what we have, if we can do anything with it to maybe help the problem being solved a little bit. And Jonathan, you might tell the group and whoever's online as to what happened to the lumber prices for repairing our railroad car up at the loop.
They quadrupled in the last couple months. And so we had the grant to buy most of the wood we need to repair our coach. And I think we're gonna try to see if those prices come down again. I've been debating whether we should do that or buy what we can, but I think they can't, I have a hard time thinking they're gonna stay as high as they are right now. $60 for a piece of plywood, you know?
I know I've heard people say the cost of a construction is, like doubled or whatever, and I thought that was an exaggeration. And maybe it is multiples. It's insane.
Is it a supply problem? Is that why the prices are all jacked up?
I think so. I think it's also all the shipping issue that they've had.
Hmm.
But I don't really know why like it's as much as it is. It just seems like all of a sudden, there you go, you've got expensive wood. I think concrete's expensive now too, but I'm not sure if it's gone up as much.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. No doubt about it.
I have
Yeah,
a 2x4 and we're just going to keep holding on to it, I guess.
Put it in your retirement account.
Right, exactly.
There you go, Michael. That's a good idea.
Might be worth something.
I'm going to look down behind the woodshed, see what
See what you got.
insane. Oh my goodness, they're 25 minutes late. I think they'll probably be out. I think it's in the mayor's DNA to start about 7 o'clock. So it's 5-2.
Hi, Jonathan. Jim Frank here.
Hello, sir.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Just letting you know I'm here. I'm going to mute and hide behind my name.
Sounds good. Council's running late again, but I'm anticipating they should be here pretty quickly, or most of them. We do have this Boland here, Mayor Pro Tem, so we're not slumming.
Thanks. Let me know if you need anything.
Hi, Libby. This is Bob. We are still waiting for the council to get out of an executive session. So we're all standing by.
No problem. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Libby, what books do you have behind you? Is there any wonderful ones?
They're all wonderful books, right, Jonathan? Depending on
Yeah.
what you like to read. These are new materials, so they're
Oh, cool.
published this month or whatever. Yeah. How have you been?
Pretty good. We've been busy, but I'm happy it's warm outside. That's something. So
It was a lovely weekend. I need to grab barrels from you. You said we could grab. Do you have 3 left or
yeah,
not?
we'll have plenty. And I saved the library. I think I have 4 for the library, if that's okay.
Yeah,
But
that would be
they're a
great.
little delayed because they got cold in Arvada, so they're just a little behind. So they'll be here like June 12th-ish.
Oh, no problem. That's perfect. That's good. So, yeah. Well, are you reading anything good right now? I mean,
I just got that book Ararat, which is about some people who find like Noah's Ark, like in the mountains in the present day or something. And I haven't started yet, but I heard it was good.
I haven't heard of that. I'll have
Yeah,
to check it out.
Lindsay Valdez was telling me about it, so I thought I'd try and see. I haven't read a book for fun in a really long time, so I'm excited.
Yeah, the pandemic opened up opportunities to read more books and listen to more books while I was sanitizing my house. Lots of audio.
I just unpacked all my books from like young adulthood for my daughter because she just started reading chapter books, and it's been exciting because it's like finding old friends, kind of like those old books like that. So she just started reading Little House in the Big Woods, and she likes it so far. So we'll see how it goes.
I reread that twice with both my kiddos because my
Yeah.
kids are 5 years apart. It's pretty amazing.
Cool.
I have 2 boys and we read Where the Red Fern Grows kind of in the middle stage, and I was bawling and couldn't read it. I was like, you have to read it now. But those books are so great to read as adults too, especially through your kids.
That book, I think it was the first book that had a really big emotional impact on my life. It's so sad, but it is good. She just also got like all the old Ramona and Beezus books and Ralph S. Mouse and those ones. And and they're great, you know, and didn't know that Beverly Cleary was still alive, and she like just recently died a couple months ago, I think.
Yeah, just this year. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, my kids, the Little House on the Prairie was it for them. They loved that. They loved the dog. They loved the gun, like when they make maple syrup candy and stuff. It was like
Did
people.
you guys ever go look at all the places that they supposedly stayed? Like you can go in Wyoming and Nebraska and everywhere. And
Oh yeah, that's big in the Midwest. Big tour. Harry Potter, you think your kiddo will be interested in that or not?
I was trying to decide like which Harry Potter book is where it gets grown up. It's book 4, right? When it starts getting kind of scary.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets pretty dark for especially 5. So yeah. Yeah.
We have the first one. I have all of them, but we'll definitely have to at least read the first one and the second one. She's seen the first movie, so it's probably fine because I think the movie's probably scarier with the whole like Voldemort reveal there.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna drive to Arizona on Friday, and so I was thinking we were gonna take some books. So that might have to be one of our Arizona books. And you guys are doing a summer reading program, right, at the library?
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to get a packet for your kiddos, let me know. There's virtual and in-person stuff. So from a distance, it's easy. So. And the theme is so great. It's Tales and Tales. And like, because we're in Colorado and we love all our animals, like
Perfect.
There's a meet and greet where you can bring a stuffed animal or your real
Oh.
pet, which is always at meetings. I see very Zoom friendly.
We were gonna name our dog Ribsy originally after Ribsy,
Yeah.
but it didn't quite work. He's Champion. And he kind of looks like what I imagine, or he looked like. Our daughter would love that. They're way big into stuffed animals right now. And real animals, anything but snakes, really. So we had a big bull snake in our backyard this weekend, and it was like huge, and they both freaked out. So we're gonna avoid that this summer, I think.
No snakes.
That's the rule.
Well, have a safe trip to Arizona.
Thank you. Should be fun. We're gonna go swimming.
Wonderful.
We are really running late here.
So I made a pact with my kids, if they'd read the Harry Potter books, I'd take them to Orlando, to the Harry Potter world. And they did. And I forgot about the deal. And my daughter's like, you said we would go to. I'm like, you're right, okay. But they read them all. And they loved them. Loved them all.
That's such an awesome parent. I mean, what a trade out. That's
Well, I never thought I'd
amazing.
have to pay up on it, you know. They got hooked into the stories though. They really liked it.
Once you do, those first 4 books just like fly by, I think, once you get into it.
They came out when I was in college, and I remember, this might age me a bit. No comments, Jonathan. But I remember like skipping class to get through the first book, like a true librarian at the time. Like I have to read this.
Did you go at midnight to get them when they started coming out at midnight?
No, I mean, I was cool. I could get it the week of. I think I was more organized and just ordered it, so it was coming. Amazon was just getting bigger at that time too.
There used to be like a Barnes and Noble or something at Colorado Mills, and we would go. I remember we went to like the last 3 books, I think, at midnight, my sister and I. And then we would race to see who could finish it first and stay up all night. It was good times. Book 7. I wish book 7 was more than 1 book. I think it's like really compressed in there. But other than that,
Is that Half-Blood Prince? Which one is that?
that's what is it? Half-Blood Prince is book 6.
The
Now
I'm looking bad.
Oh, not Deathly Hallows.
Oh, Deathly Hallows? It might be Deathly Hallows.
Is it?
Let me ask a librarian.
Hello, Chuck.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Good,
Seeing
good.
you means the city council executive session is over, right?
Yes, yeah, I'm sorry it went longer than anyone had thought.
All right.
You win trivia, Jonathan. It was Deathly House. 10
Then
points.
so then it was $2.
And it was 2 movies, but the book was like 1 book.
Was it 1 book?
Yeah.
That was 2 movies.
Right.
I tipped my hand.
All right, welcome everybody. So we're going to do a little something different real quick. Our work session items. We're gonna hear real quick from Judge Goodby, and with an update. And then we will talk about the 2 other items during our regular meeting. So we'll hear from Judge Goodby, and then we'll go into our regular meeting and the parking plan update. We will talk about before we make a motion on that ordinance. And then we will also talk about under mayor and council tonight about the no smoking area for downtown. So we are in work session, and thanks for being patient with this, Judge Goodby.
Not a problem, sir.
We're here to hear an update of how things are going and how wonderful our community is, and LC and our whole front office. And so take it away. We're here to listen.
Thank you, and I'm sorry to elbow my way to the front. Isn't that like somebody that calls himself a judge? Me first, me first. But thank you, and I'll try to be quick with this. Really 2 items, well, 3 items. The first is, you're right, I love working with your crew there. Kelsey and Diane are great, and Wonder's great. And I appreciate the opportunity to work for the city, of course. The second is that since the pandemic hit, we've been doing a lot of Zoom arraignments, and I want to let you know that we're probably going to continue to do some of that for a while, because it appears to be cutting down our failures to appear. People are more willing to come to court if they don't have to really come to court. I'm going to watch that for about 90 days, look at the numbers, and then decide whether or not to require appearances or whether to stay on that track. But it's cut down a lot of the failures to appear in the last year. And I'll give you guys an update on the numbers of those later on. The third issue, and I'm sure you guys don't need more on your plate, but part of what's going on now is that a lot of cases are getting set for jury trials in districts, in jurisdictions all around the state. Some of the defendants are wondering whether or not courts are going to be able to convene juries. And I think that's part of what's happening here, but there's also a backlog. So I have 3 cases right now that are set for jury trial. And the issue that I need to bring to drop on the council is, the issue of when to open up the city hall for purposes of a trial, and whether I need to be looking potentially at another public setting if the city hall is not going to get opened up for the public. I think that we can safely convene enough folks in there and maintain social distancing, but whether or not city hall is open is your call and not my call. And our first trial is in July. And so at some point, if I'm going to need to look elsewhere for the trial, to hold the trial, I just kind of wanted to give you guys enough time to kind of chew on that and figure out what you'd like to do. And that's my summary. Things are going great, and I love working for the city.
Thank you, Judge Goodby. One thing I will say that Andy and I and a couple of other staff members, John, with this lift of the mask order, I think that it's time, for us to, at City Hall here in the very near future, to start opening back up. This is a public building, and if there are no restrictions, we've talked about things like still requiring masks inside the buildings, which we can do. Do not, if you're coming into City Hall, you have to wear a mask. And we have every right to do that. So those are some of the things. I really feel, Judge, that by that July, that we will be allowing this. And I think this will behoove you well to be able to do it in our own chambers and everything. So I think with the blessing of council and other staff members that are in the front office and how we go about doing this, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be ready to do these jury trials that are in the future.
If they go, we'll see whether they go. But I certainly, I'm sorry to add one more thing to your plate, but thank you so much. And I appreciate your consideration of that. And I'll get out of the line. It sounds like you guys got some other stuff to deal with.
It's kind of weird that you say that, people, the failure to appear, if they can sit at home and get on, and they, because we know that, there are people in our community. I'm not just talking about Idaho Springs, but, the whole county, that transportation's an issue, the single parent and can't get into court. So yeah, I like to hear that, that data, that it's working, doing these types of court appearances through Zoom. Council,
Michael, Mayor Mike, gonna clarify here. I'm just wondering, from our judge, do municipal trials, jury trials last like a day or something like that, or half a day, or is there any typical?
No, they do. They last about a day. A jury, you pick a jury in the morning. You usually have opening statements by 10 o'clock. They're usually 2 or 3 witness cases. And so it's rare for the jury to be there after, for more than a day. But I'll tell you, jury trials in smaller municipal courts are pretty rare too. So, you go to a place like Aurora or Denver, Thornton, they happen pretty regularly, but in the smaller courts, they really don't happen that often.
Diane, we had one a couple of years ago. She said, I've been here a long time, and I think this is the first time we had a jury trial. So, yeah, so when you say that, I do believe that is true with our community.
We'll get her done. If they got to go, we'll get her done,
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions or thoughts, ideas for Judge Goodby?
Thank you.
Good to see you all. Thank you so much again.
Thanks for
Bye-bye.
waiting on us. Okay, let's go right in to, we're going to go ahead and it is 7:18. We're a little bit late. It's May 24th, 2021. This is a regular city council meeting. Can I have roll call, please?
Michael Hillman,
Here.
Scott Pennell,
Here.
Chuck Harmon,
Here.
Bob Boland,
Here.
John Curtis,
Here.
Art Kekaveli,
Here.
Jim Clark.
Here.
All right, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation
Under God.
God, indivisible, liberty.
Thank you. Please be seated. Okay, we have an agenda in front of us. As I mentioned, we will have John Kane do his presentation on the parking before we get into the ordinances for that. With that, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda for May 24th, 2021 meeting as amended.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Question? All right, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none. Does anybody tonight really have a conflict of interest with our agenda or bills? All right. We'll move to the minutes. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the minutes from May 10th, 2021.
And do I have a second?
A second.
Thank you. And discussion. Anybody find any typos or anything we want to fix? All right. With that, in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, we will move to the bills. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the bills to May 24th, 2021.
And do I have a second?
A second.
Thank you, Art. All right, discussion. Anybody have any questions on the bills that are before us that we need some clarification on? And thanks, Chief Busick, for getting that information back to us at our last meeting about the vest for frost. I've got one. I already know it. So the downtown street signs, John, those are our Avenue and Minor Street signs. Is that what that is?
Yes, sir.
Now this is paid by, wasn't there a grant that we used to, that we're paid for this with? And what was that grant?
Revitalizing Main Streets from Colorado Department of Transportation.
Have we received that grant or is it a reimbursement?
I think it's a reimbursement.
Have we filed for that yet, Andy? Yeah, so we're just waiting for it to get back to us. All right, very good.
Mayor, we will be filing for the sign reimbursement here shortly.
Okay.
We pay for it and then file for reimbursement.
Okay. If anybody has any questions, just jump in.
I think the signs look really good. They're nice.
Anybody have anything else that sticks in?
Page 2, bottom of the page, dewatering project. That's under Fisher, is that what it's called? Not new plant?
Yeah, that's part of that's part of the project too at the plant.
I just wonder if it's under the right item.
Is that right, John? Bordoni?
Let me find it here. I'm sorry.
Page 2, bottom, top of page 3.
Yeah, then up at page 3, it goes into the next page.
Yes, that is the correct. Yes, that is correct line item. That is part of this project.
Okay. Thanks.
Now, there's a big bill down about 3/4 of the way on page. This Murray Dahl beer, but well spent, I will say. All right.
Mike, as we talked before, if we wanted to categorize her time sometimes, it's broken down that if we needed to consider charging people for extra legal circumstances, that's a possibility, right?
Yes, absolutely. We just have to create just another line item and have that number on that. So yes, that is doable. And we're still working with Lorraine about getting it so we see those reimbursements and they're paid back to the city. We pay the bills and then we should have a place on there that says, or in parentheses, that it was paid back and we actually received that money. Okay, anything else on the bills? Pretty short list of bills, actually. All right. We've got the motion in a second. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Oh, let's do roll call on bills. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Diane?
Michael Hillman,
Yeah.
Yes.
Scott Pennell,
Yes.
Chuck Harmon,
Yes.
Bob Boland,
Yes.
John Curtis,
Yes.
Art Cacavelli,
Yes.
Tim Clark.
Yes. Hey, Diane, do we have any unscheduled public comment tonight?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. We will go down to resolutions. Okay, this resolution number 9. Do we have a motion?
I would move to approve resolution number 9, series 2021, a resolution approving an agreement for operation and maintenance of the Idaho Springs Public Library.
Do I have a
Second.
Bob's second. Discussion. I'll say that I am pleased that this was not I wasn't expecting too much of a battle with Libby, but Richard might have been different, right? No, but we really appreciate working with you guys and us taking on some of the responsibility of that property that belongs to the city and helping the library district cover some of those costs in an in-kind way. So I'm hoping that both parties, I believe the council's happy, and I'm hoping the library district can live with this and be happy with it too.
We're very happy. Thank you very much. And Dick sends his regards. He had another board meeting that he could not miss. But thank you very much.
Okay.
Hey, thank you, Libby.
All
Mayor?
right.
Mayor,
Yes, Carmen?
I even had my hand, I didn't have my little yellow Zoom hand up, but I have my regular hand up. Council and Mayor and Libby and all interested folks, I just wanted to make sure it was fully reflected that the O&M agreement that was in the packet and is in the public packet on the website is slightly different than the one that's the final form. Our city clerk did send that final form went out to mayor and council today. I wanted to make sure that it was on the public record as a little bit different than what's in the packet. And that is simply that under the city's obligations under 1A, the packet reads that the city shall under 1A be responsible for upkeep and repair, removal of snow and ice, etc. from all sidewalks and driveways. And we've added to the final form, comma, excepting the front steps leading to the building and the landing adjacent to the front doors, as we discussed last Monday. And then simply that sort of same language is added and tacked on as a new 2A under the district responsibilities, that the district shall remove snow and ice and debris from the steps leading to the landing of the near the front doors and that landing area. That's all. It was something you expressly talked about last week, so I'm going to make sure you knew that it made the final form of the agreement.
Thank you. I'm hoping maybe everybody didn't see that email that Diane sent out, but
right.
Diane did send that out to us.
So the resolution is okay, and you have a motion and a second, and that's a live motion that approves the agreement. So you don't have to change any motion that's on the table or anything. I just wanted to be real clear about what's in the version that we'll send over to the library for signature.
Yeah, I did read it earlier. I saw the change or the addition.
All right, thank you for that, Carmen. Okay, we got motion. Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Michael Hillman,
Yes.
Scott Pennell,
Yes.
Chuck Harmon,
Yes.
Bob Boland,
Yes.
John Curtis,
Yes.
Art Cacavelli,
Yes.
Jim Clark.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. All right, before this next resolution, we are going to talk about the changes and the parking plan. So John, I'm going to give you a few minutes to talk about what we've done and answer any questions that we might have for that.
Mayor and council.
Is the next one the EV charging?
Right.
Okay.
I think we skipped for
Number 10. Sorry, I put a check back. All right, let's do resolution number 10. Thank you, Carmen. Jim would have hung out with us. He was okay. He probably going to hang out and hear about this parking stuff anyway. So can I have a motion, please?
I'll move to approve resolution number 10, series 2021, a resolution approving a charging station license agreement with EV Build LLC to provide electric vehicle charging stations at approved city parking lot locations.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Art, thank you for your second. Discussion.
Mayor, did we ever determine whether we were going to gain any sort of other revenues for the city rather than just parking?
Now say it again, Jim. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, say it again. Yeah, you're cutting out again, kind of like you were in our other meeting.
His question was basically, are we going to get additional revenue other than the revenue that we would get for the parking spaces?
No, what we negotiated with ChargePoint was, Carmen did the math, offered it to the group, and they came back and we decided on, I don't have that number, it was like 79, is it 79.80 or something a year, Carmen?
It's reflected on the first page of the agreement. I was searching in my hard copy, but I can see it's on the first page in the compensation that's due. Essentially 300 a parking space per annual term for the first term, which comes out to 7,200 for the first year, I believe, for the equivalent of 6-month period. And then the agreement to increase the amount for every parking space in the amount of 5% annually, compounded annually going forward. So the amount of spaces might expand or contract, but we hope maybe expand if this is successful. So revenues would probably only go up in the future. But that's reflected on page 1 of the draft in your packet.
Under the agreement, a second paragraph.
Yep.
200. Do you see that, Art, Jim?
Yeah. Well, I was just asking on Jim's behalf because we can't hear him.
Okay. Any other discussion on that? All right. Can I have a roll call?
Michael Hillman,
Yes.
Scott Pennell,
Yes.
Chuck Harmon,
Yes.
Bob Boland,
Yes.
John Curtis,
Yes.
Art Cacavelli,
Yes.
Jim Clark.
Yes.
Hey, we heard him. All right. Jim, we're excited about getting this done. Thanks for working and being patient with us. My question is when do we start?
Very, very soon. We want to get the high season. So we're working with the utility, and I'll keep you guys updated. But Mayor, thank you, and the council for all your hard work, and Carmen. I'll keep you guys updated. So I'll work through Andrew and keep him in the loop on the progress. But as soon as we can,
All right.
EVs are coming.
Very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Great night.
Now we'll move to our parking plan discussion. John, take it away.
Mayor and Council, last week we discussed the scope of service for the new parking contract. And it requires a couple of changes to our parking plan that we have adopted last February. Basically, sections 13 and 14 are new here. And section 13, all we really did was establish the parking zones that exist currently by operation, which is the paid parking zone, which essentially consists of the downtown area, and then the residential parking zone, which runs approximately from 9th to 17th between Colorado, Virginia, Wall Street, that area, Placer, Illinois. So those first two sections establish those areas. We decided to put these areas in the parking plan instead of the parking permit because it makes it easy, or the parking contract, because it makes it easier to modify them if it's necessary in the future, because all we have to do is adopt a resolution to modify the parking plan instead of rewrite the entire contract with Interstate. I think these areas are pretty close to what is required, but if, for instance, we want to expand the residential area, we just add the appropriate bullet point for that. I put in red the sections that are new here. The paid parking facilities, we went out on last Thursday, Mayor Hillman, Andrew Marsh, Jessica Hindmarch from Interstate Parking, and Danny Crane, and we looked at some areas in the residential parking zone that don't necessarily make sense as residential parking. These are areas that there's no houses near or are in the commercial area already, but just happen to be kind of cut into the other area. So in red there, that's where they are. There were some spaces near the bank, which were posted 30-minute parking, which we're proposing to turn paid. There's some on 15th Avenue on the west side of the street where there's two commercial properties, both on Colorado Boulevard and on 15th there. And then a couple other areas just around the downtown. We also propose creating a paid zone behind Carlson Elementary to the north, where it would be teacher parking during the school year, and then we would just convert it to paid parking during the summer. So that's a matter of signage. The second section that's new is the parking permits. What I wanted to do is just codify these so that they're official. Basically, we have city residents short-term, which is like a guest of a city resident, county residents, and employee permits. I have proposed a couple of things for your consideration that you can certainly weigh in on and change as necessary. One is that with the premium nature of our parking lots in the downtown area, we have very limited parking even when CDOT's not working there. And we may have up to 115 employee vehicles during the summertime. I had proposed moving those vehicles primarily to the Mustang lot. And then having some free parking, the free parking that exists in the city. So city residents would be able to still park in the lots for free, but employees would be parking they'd either be paying for parking or they could park in the busing lot or the resource center lot for free. That may or may not work. I think that's something for council discussion. The other thing that I had proposed is county resident permits are currently unlimited time duration in the parking lots. And with the way parking has gone downtown, that's become something of an issue as well. And we were just proposing that we make those permits 3 hours. But again, that's for your discussion and of course for your direction there. The last thing I wanted to just direct your attention to, last week, I had been thinking that we might be able to make the busing lot free. But I think especially with the needs of our employees and just the needs of the community in general, it makes more sense to leave that paid and just have that as a paid lot. Because that's still right in the downtown. It's very close and we're still going to have, I think if we make it free, it's going to make it pretty crazy over there. So I propose just like leaving the busing lot as it is. A couple more, we added about 25 spaces of paid parking in that red section in the paid parking zone, section A under section 13. And then just the creation of those different kinds of permits.
Council have any questions? This is kind of a update our work session topic. So if there's anything that you want clarification before we move into our
The bus thing is going to be still paid parking, but the teachers can park there for free. I mean, their permits designate that they can park there for free, correct?
Yes, sir. And we'd also give them some space by Carlson so that they're not impacted. Currently, they have kind of a loosey-goosey situation, and this would just make it a little bit tighter for them.
Yeah, no, I think that's good because if you had it just free, I'm sure it would get filled by tourists real quick.
Yeah.
Jonathan, thanks for all the hard work you've given on this. And I like the thought on putting stuff in the plan instead of in the contract. It makes total sense of doing it that way.
Thank you. This has been a big project, but I think we've got everything figured out. Gareth and Jessica are also on this call, so I didn't know if they had any feedback they wanted to provide too, but it's essentially the same document as last week. It's just the busing lot change and the addition of paid parking.
How we good? Go ahead.
I think, sorry, it's Gareth. Yeah, I think charging on Mustang makes a lot of sense. Otherwise, like you said, everybody's just going to park there, and you're not going to have any space for the teachers or the rec center. So I think it makes a lot of sense.
And how are we going to convey to the residents that we have to do the permits yearly?
Jessica and I had a brief conversation about that, and I think that Interstate has contact information for everybody who's registered, and I don't keep contact information, but I talk to people very frequently, and I work with all the businesses all the time. I think between us, we can make sure that they're contacted ahead of time and that it's a pretty easy process. We've noticed people getting new cars too. That's been the other thing is they don't always remember to register their new vehicle when it comes. So I think having at least a yearly contact with everybody registered in the system is a good customer service practice moving forward, I believe. But we're open.
How long are we going to give them to do this? Because it may take some people a little time. So I mean, is there a deadline as far as you're going to give them 30 days, 60 days or whatever to get it changed over?
I think we're open to direction on that. We, to this point, have erred on the side of giving people in the county and city residents as much grace as possible on that. Like even to the point where if something happens, we figure out the registration and help them get through it. If council believes that a window is appropriate, we'll do whatever window there is. But we would just want this to be good, as non-impactful on residents as possible is kind of the goal.
So, I thought about this. One, I think we've got emails from everybody, or most of our folks that have received permits. I'm a little nervous about doing the annual.
I am too.
What does council think about biannual? Do it every other year at a 2-year span. For people to have another thing that they have to do every year, and then like you said, Art, how much time? Yeah, I think we give them time. This is not something to penalize. And on the flip side of that, if they do get a ticket and they were registered and they come and say, hey, I thought I was registered. And John says, well, you used to be, but you're not now. So let me help you get it done. So we have that avenue too. That happens quite a bit anyway. So would council support us just going to a biannual re-registration?
Would.
Right, because I was parked up there and they're gonna give me a ticket. And I knew I was registered, but he said I'm not. So I guess I have to go through registration again.
Councilman Curtis, if you could send me that citation, I can take a look at
But
that.
he didn't give me one. I told him I live here.
Okay.
And he says you gotta re-register. And I thought once you registered, it was it.
If I could email you, sometimes the list of vehicles is not, we just need to check it. So maybe I could touch base with you after and we'll make sure that your vehicles are taken care of.
Okay, I can do it. You know, it's fine. Just more FYI.
Yeah, I don't want to register annually. I think biannually is much better.
I agree.
With employees, would that be something that you guys would consider a shorter window? Because downtown employees can turn over rather quickly and they get free unlimited parking in the lots currently. So that was the one where that might be worth a conversation about.
Is that going to be a big admin lift to do that for employees?
Jessica, do you have an opinion on that, about a way that we could do that? Just to make sure that they're registered properly?
Yeah, and also too, we can work with the businesses just to get an updated list. Therefore, it doesn't have to be an annual thing. We can just work with them all year round. Because a lot of times what happens is we get new employees that come in and they just submit all their information to us automatically. But then therefore, if we work with the businesses and just kind of like, hey, are these people still here? Like our ambassador just go in and then we can delete people as need be.
We also proposed removing employees from the main lots in this agreement. And that's one of the things I thought required council direction, especially. We have spaces in the resource center lot and in the busting lot. And we had also considered these new paid parking spots on Colorado Boulevard and kind of on the outskirts of the area might be available for employee parking. So I think in general, it's about the same amount. If we were able, it's just those main lots are very, very constrained. And in the summertime, especially, I don't think it really matters in the wintertime and the fall, but in the summertime, the employee vehicles there could be a quarter of the lot right there. But I wasn't sure if that's something that we feel comfortable about, or if we want to try to tackle that in a different way. And that was something that I would love direction from council on, if that would be something to consider, or if we should put this off for another day and find another solution.
So what we have talked about, John, is continuing to let residents that are employees, they still get to park in the lots for free anyway.
Correct.
The time.
Yeah.
All the county folks that sign up can get 3 hours of free parking, and if they work, then they need to use the Mustang lot. If they're going to be there more than 3 hours, then they need to use the Mustang lot or the resource center lot. And I think that's doable because we're gonna have a lot of employees that live here that park down there, and that gives us plenty of room for county residents. Now, if they're coming down to work a 3 hour shift, so be it, or if they go over, so they come, if they come down and they work at 11 o'clock, after 3 hours, they'll start getting charged. So I guess the next 3 hours is gonna cost them $4.50, $1.50 an hour, right?
Correct.
So they would have to pay. Some employees may say, you know what the heck? I'm going to work a 6 hour shift. My first 3 hours is free. I'll pay the $5, part of doing business. I'll go work and I'll have to pay for it. I'm sure that we'll see some of that as well. Or the businesses may give them some kind of stipend or some kind of incentive that they can do it. Or they can walk a block to go to work. Okay, any other questions on that? Chief, you got anything to add to that, or your position on any of this?
No, guys, I mean, I think that all sounds very reasonable. It sounds like it's common sense and it's fair. So that's why I haven't really said that sounds fair to me. So.
All right, thanks, Chief. Okay, with no more questions for John, we will get that one requirement instead of annual renewals, biannual renewals. So when we make our motion, let's do it with the amendment to the resolution. Can I have a motion?
I would move that we approve resolution number 11 as amended, series 2021, a resolution adopting an amended parking plan.
And do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Art. Okay, last chance for discussion. Okay, roll call, please.
Michael Hillman,
Yes.
Scott Pennell,
Yes.
Chuck Harmon,
Yes.
Bob Boland,
Yes.
John Curtis,
Yes.
Art Cacavelli,
Yes.
Jim Clark.
Yes.
All right. We don't have any ordinance first readings tonight. We'll move to our ordinance second readings. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve ordinance number 6, series 2021, an ordinance annexing to the city of Idaho Springs certain unincorporated lands located in section 2, Ship 4 South, range 73 west of the 6th principal meridian in Clear Creek County, Colorado, to be known as the cemetery annexation to the city of Idaho Springs.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion. I'll say this is a long time coming. You know, we've had a cemetery that belongs to the city of Idaho Springs, and it wasn't in the city limits. So I think this is something Andy and I have been talked about, you know, probably the first year after he was here. And I'm finally glad that we're able to accomplish this as well. Any other discussion, council? All right. Roll call.
Michael Hillman,
Yes.
Scott Pennell,
Yes.
Chuck Harmon,
Yes.
Bob Boland,
Yes.
John Curtis,
Yes.
Art Cacavelli,
Yes.
Jim Clark.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. And we will move on to our second reading of ordinance 8. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve ordinance number 8, series 2021, an ordinance adopting a new section 1-19 of the Idaho Springs Municipal Code concerning the collection of delinquent fees and charges.
And a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Council, I'm just happy to say that I think this is much like the last one, an ordinance that maybe has been a while coming. This was a little cleanup item, really. Many municipalities include a code provision like this. It's very common. I was surprised to discover recently this is not in our code. Quite clearly by state statute, you're allowed to certify all manner of delinquent fees and charges to the county. And it's a useful tool in the tool belt. So if you pass this, I thank you on behalf of current and future city staffs, because this makes collection efforts a lot easier.
Thank you for that comment. Okay, any other discussions or questions, council? Roll call, please.
Michael Hillman, Scott Pennell,
Yes.
Chuck Harmon,
Yes.
Bob Boland,
Yes.
John Curtis,
Yes.
Art Cacavelli,
Yes.
Jim Clark.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. We will move down now to Andy, city administrator.
Mayor and council, you have my staff report with one request for action, please.
All right, does anybody have any questions for Andy? All right, let's get a motion. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll move to approve an agreement for services with Interstate Parking Colorado for parking management services until June 1st, 2024, with the city sharing 50% of the net parking revenue with Interstate.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. I'll just throw out there, we should be very pleased with Interstate being patient with us, moving this forward with the pandemic. You know, when we first rolled out the program, we were turned on for maybe 4 or 5 days. We shut it down. We redid some things. We formed a task force. So they've been in the trenches riding along with this, and they've been very patient, and they've been very responsive to anything that we've ever asked them. They're willing to work with us. I say that they have become part of our community because they are up here quite a bit, making sure that things are running like they should be. So I would just like to say thank you to the Interstate team and looking for the partnership moving out into the future.
Thank you.
Any other comments, council?
I agree 100% with what you say. They've been terrific to work with. Very pleased.
Thank you.
It's all good.
Except for that Canadian guy, I'm still not sure about him.
He's questionable for all.
So he's not on here. Okay, can I have a roll call, please?
Michael Hillman,
Yes.
Scott Pennell,
Yes.
Chuck Harmon,
Yes.
Bob Boland,
Yes.
John Curtis,
Yes.
Art Cacavelli,
Yes.
Jim Clark.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for the partnership, Interstate.
Thank you all very much.
Okay.
We love working with you.
Council, any other questions for Administrator Marsh? Okay, we will move down to PD. Chief, what do you have for us?
Just a couple of little updates for council and the community. We've been able to start our training again, in-person training, which has been fantastic. So the officers all attended active shooter training at the old middle school the last couple of weeks, and put on by the sheriff's department. They did a great job. So just wanted to update the group. And then also I attended a sexual assault response team meeting. It's the first time they've had that meeting in over a year out in the county. It's a group of detectives and prosecutors and victims advocates to get together to discuss these sensitive cases and the best ways to deal with those. And then the other thing that we were excited about last week was if you drove by the PD, you saw a big roll-off dumpster, and we were able to get rid of a lot of old things out of the garage and really we're trying to clean up the facility and make it just a little bit better work environment there in the building. And then the last thing I'll say is that the awards ceremony for the Clear Creek County Law Enforcement Awards, Kyle Roller's awards ceremony, is this Wednesday, the 26th, out at the Blackstone Ranch. And I'm assuming there's going to be a couple of our employees that'll be recognized. So I'm available for questions.
Chief, it's Lyle Woolers, bud.
Yes. I'm sorry about that. Typo.
Yes, I did see the roll-off dumpster with stuff just piled in there. When I look at that, I don't even know where that stuff was stored, because that's a lot. That's a 30-yard roll-off there. It's a big roll-off there. So thanks for getting that all cleaned up. Anybody have any other?
Who's nominated, team? Who do we have on the ISPD team?
One of the citizen awards, because they're doing for 2019 and for 2020. And so one of the citizen awards, a nominee is Danielle Lewis. And then also Corporal Ryan Frost was nominated for Officer of the Year for 2019.
Right on. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Any other questions for the chief? All right. We're going to go back to city clerk. Diane saying, I can't believe he skipped me. Diane?
Yes, I can. Mayor and Council, you have my report for your review with no request for action.
All right. So I got a question. A transfer of ownership, can they still leave the West Wind sign up, or does that require them to change the name officially?
It's going to require them to change it eventually.
Okay. All right. That West Wind sign's been up there forever.
He got an application for a sign permit, so it's coming.
Okay. So I guess the owner of that building will get to keep that sign, huh?
Mr. Husari,
Who? Oh, I'm
Sam
sorry.
Husari.
I'm sorry. Who's sorry? Oh, no. Right. Okay. All right. Thanks, Diane. Does anybody have any questions for Diane? All right. Next up is Public Works, Streets, and Water and Wastewater. John, he took a vacation on us, so I don't even know how he's going to talk about what's going on the last week and a half, but I'm sure he'll give us some good updates. John?
I always know what's going on, even when I'm not here. First, I'll call your attention to this letter. I'm sure you got it in your packet from a resident about Paul Crane and Steve Higgins about repairing their water line in a very quick fashion. They were very responsive and very appreciative that we went up there and did that for them. They were out of water. Of course, Mr. Pennell knows that we repaired his water lines in the street. We'll get that fixed eventually too. We do have another water line that we'll probably do here very soon between Virginia and 20th. We have another water line we can, as you can see, the parks guys, our summer help have been busy getting the sprinkler systems going on all of the lawns earlier this year, much earlier than we did last year. So hopefully that helps quite a bit. We're also getting all the plows and winter equipment off of the trucks, getting ready for the flowers again. Wastewater treatment plant, they did put one of the AGS tanks in service. They've been having a few issues with it, but they've been working a lot of hours. Everything has to be ran on manual right now until they get the system going where it can be ran on automatic. But they're running one SBR and one AGS system, which is never the intent to begin with, but that's the way that it has happened. So I think that's it.
All right. Thanks, John. Does anybody have any
Yeah, I
questions?
do. John, when you get a chance, I've been getting quite a few comments about Pine Slope Road from the residents. Two of the residents up there have Airbnbs, and I guess one has gotten a couple complaints from people that have stayed there, and the other one's just concerned before she gets them. And if you have an opportunity, can you or one of your key men take a look at it? It's really in bad shape. And
we have all of the dirt roads that need work. We've been working at the bottom of Pine Slope. The recent heavy rains plugged the drain at the bottom of it. So all of that was washing out into Soda Creek. So they worked on that today. Last week, of course, they were working on that water line for 3 days. Hopefully this week we can get the equipment out on the dirt roads and get those repaired.
yeah, there's a lot of puddles that need to dry up yet, so you might need a few days for that to occur. But I appreciate it. I'll give that your comments back to the residents. Thank you.
Yes, there's we have not a lack of work to do. I can guarantee you that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, Mike, I had questions. Well, first of all, receiving a letter like this is great. It doesn't happen every day for sure, but this was really a sincere, lengthy letter, and I think it's terrific. So the other thing, in that restaurant, it sounded like their service line was in a cave, and that's kind of unusual. I just wonder what the circumstance is.
It is back in a small cave, and I'm not exactly sure why they were digging around in there, but whoever was kicked the water line and broke it free from the meter that's in that pit, cave, whatever you want to call it, back there behind their house.
Okay, not an old mine or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. All right. No, that caught my attention. That's all.
Right. Any other questions for John? All right. Thanks, John. Give our regards to Steve and Paul. Tell them thank you very much for representing the city in the way that we expect them to. So good job to your crews, and let them know that we are really appreciative of that.
Yeah. Thanks, John.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Just a couple of housekeeping items that I want to talk about. Again, today I had a discussion with CDOT. Jeff Hampton, the project manager, was out here on site looking around. They are expected to start doing paving Wednesday into Wednesday night, into Thursday and Thursday night, and get it striped. Now, of course, he was kind of holding his breath when he said it to me, so I'm going to cross my fingers, because if it doesn't happen, I'm not holding my breath. And if I hold my breath too long, we know what happens then. So I'm really, Jeff has really been a trooper to be out here, and it's tough on them, and they know what how bad it is on our city. Just this weekend, driving around downtown, it was crazy. People are just parking anywhere, and on the wrong side of the street, up on curbs, just about anything you can think of. So we are really hoping that we get that parking lot paved and ready to go for this weekend. Another thing I'd like to.
What's the weather like, Mike? Is the weather favorable?
No, yeah, it's favorable. They should have no problem, Scott. Yeah, that's what I said to Jeff today, and Jeff agreed, and that's why he was actually out of town last week, and he wanted to, and I gave him a call. He said, I'll be out there first thing Monday, so give me a holler and we'll get together on this. So he ran out and see what's going on. We were told the area over there by John Bordoni's house, actually the city's house that John Bordoni lives in, but that's going to take a little bit. Jeff said that it's a mess over there. He doesn't even know what's going on. So he's going to keep an eye on that. But we're not expecting to have that area paved as soon as behind Westbound and Down and Bojo's, those two lots.
Mike, is there any, is it the same project on the city side as it is actually on 70? Is it the same people on contractors?
Yes, it is. And that came up as well because Jeff said that they are going to be continuing working on the main line to get that paved out. And I said, they should move somebody off that main line and get our parking lots, because right now the city believes that those parking lots are more valuable and more important than that highway out there. So he said that he is going to stay on top of it. I trust Jeff. He's really never said something that steers us the wrong way. He's as frustrated as we are, and we are very hopeful that that gets done by this week.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Jim. Let's talk real quick about in-person meetings. As we know, the mask order has been lifted. We're talking about here in the next couple of weeks, opening up City Hall with the requirements of face masks to be able to come in and do business. What does council feel about and the duration of when we should be thinking about trying to get back to in-person meetings? And I'll just say this also, we could do in-person meetings a little bit and still not allow the public to come in during the meetings, and we can still run our Zoom. So it would be a combined or a hybrid type situation that people would still see the meetings. It's not like we would just do away with the Zoom. What I would not like to see is half a council not wanting to do it in person and then being on Zoom and half in council chambers. I want to get direction from council about all or none.
I'm ready to come back and have in-person meetings. And I'm also fine with the public coming in. That being said, I'm respectful if there are other city council members that are uncomfortable. I will err on the side of caution and respect their wishes. But I just want you to know I'm ready to go back to business as usual.
Agree 100%.
Yeah, me too.
I agree. And Mayor, I think you said that all or none. But let's go back. Let's get the people back into City Hall. Let's hear what they got to say too. And
yeah,
I guess I'll have to wear my pants now. Damn.
I agree.
All of us,
Yeah.
I sit here in the council chambers all the time with no pants and no shoes on. So,
Chief, will you arrest him for indecent exposure, please?
Yeah,
I don't know. It might be decent exposure.
Yeah, go to the council chambers and find me, Chief.
Hey,
everybody comments on my background because it does look pretty good that I'm in the chambers, right?
Yes.
Okay. Also, the last thing the city received on our Riverbend residency about a week and a half ago. We've got the CO, so they could start moving people in there. That's very exciting for this community, not just Idaho Springs, but Clear Creek County as a whole. It's the first tax credit project that we've been able to land. We put a lot of effort in. It took 2 times to go back to Chaffa to do our presentation, and we were awarded that. And I think it's going to be very beneficial to our city. So that's great. I also asked, and I may have already said this, but I asked the developer for a list of who received those units. And it was 21 people from Idaho Springs, whether they were already in the trailer park before, and they were able to put their name as first up when it was built. We have some, I know that there was some out of the hotel rooms that were really pushing and working on of getting out of that type of situation and getting some quality, sustainable living situations. And then there was 10 from Denver, a couple from Georgetown, 1 from Empire, 1 from Evergreen, and then a couple from out of state. So that's kind of what made up the residents over there. And I believe he said either 65 or 68 people still on a wait list looking for permanent residents in our community. So,
Mike, we removed only what, like 15 mobile homes out of there? And to have that many Idaho Springs residents moving back in, that's a net gain, I would assume. It's pretty nice.
Yeah. And I think the other thing about the quality of life of not having to live in a hotel room anymore. I spoke on that when we were trying to do this project, that, you know, this is something that somebody in a family can be proud of. You know, it helps their self-esteem. You know, self-esteem comes from which position you put yourself in, what's around you. And sometimes just the situations that you're living in brings down your self-esteem. So I think this is a huge self-esteem builder for the residents that are getting those units. So we should be very proud that we made this happen in Idaho Springs. All right, that's all I have. Council, last chance for any discussion or clarifications.
One last thing, Mike, the 1 minute history lesson here. And it seemed appropriate. I think we mentioned a while ago, I just can't help myself. Maybe it's an age thing or something. But anyway, and this might be real appropriate for the age of COVID here. In 1947, I contracted scarlet fever, and the Idaho Springs Board of Health tacked this on our doorway. Whoop, let me get that back a little bit. I don't do screen share, obviously. On the front door of our house at 835 Colorado Boulevard, my father had to live in the Queen Hotel for 2 weeks. And all I can say is we dodged the bullet here. We are not the Board of Health any longer. And back in the day, that did cause some interesting debates, as I recall, way back in the day. And so anyway, for what it's worth, I just thought that might be a little historic note right now that we dodged that bullet. The county commissioners are in the hot seat, not the city council. That's all.
Very good, very good, Bob.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, we'll keep them all short, you people.
Well, thanks, everybody. Good work.
I have one thing, Mike.
Sure, Scott.
It was brought up by someone downtown, and I thought it was a decent idea that the barricades, the smaller black ones look better than those bigger orange ones. And I think he was told that we do have more of those coming, the smaller ones.
Absolutely, we do. We're supposed to have 12 more coming. And I don't know if Don went by there today or Andy went by there to check on what we have to start putting out. But yes, I think they look really, really good. Our little tour around town, you know, people were complimenting them, saying these look really good. So John, did you go by there today, or did you have a chance to go by CNC?
We were pretty heavy meetings today, but we can get that done first thing in the morning.
I was talking to John Bordoni.
Oh, sorry.
John Kane's always willing to help.
I did not get by there today, Mayor. I will make sure I do tomorrow.
And I almost forgot something, but I really want to discuss this tonight. And John Kane, do you have that that layout for the district? I said something the other day, and as I was walking around town, as I was looking in the planters that we have out there, or bump outs that have rocks in them or half rocks in them in some places, on our grounds at Anderson Park, the cigarette butts. I was just appalled about how many people just throw these cigarette butts in these planters, and they don't care about our community. So what I would like to propose is making this, and John did this diagram, and making this a non-smoking marketplace. We will post signs. We will create areas that people can go smoke. The employers will understand the requirements and what they can and can't do with their employees taking their breaks and smoking. But I really think that this would not only clean up the downtown, it makes it much more attractive for people that don't smoke with their and walking with their kids, not having to be at westbound and down and having a beer and taking a big bite of somebody's cigarette puff coming at us. I just kind of want to get a thought of council if we should take a look at this and get this. I'd like to get this on as a resolution on our next meeting so we can go ahead and implement it and start making signs and posting around our downtown marketplace. Any thoughts from council?
Why don't we put those cigarette burn things up where the issues lie or something? I don't know.
I'm sorry, say again, Jim.
Why don't we put those cigarette extinguisher things up
Well, what our idea was is
in the problem area?
Yes, that's what we're talking about doing. We're going to find common areas and have it marked smoking area, and out in our parking lots, put some out there as well, because a lot of people will just walk across the mall and go into the parking lot. So yeah, we should buy, and we've got money that this can be used out of our downtown parking revenues. You know, this is for the downtown, and get some of these out. I know John's thinking here, oh boy, now we've got all these cigarette butt holders to dump as well as the trash cans. Maybe we can get, you know, we've got a lot of participation, a lot of people downtown that are willing to help out with this kind of stuff. And I think between Sadie and that group that put together the events and stuff that's going to go on downtown, I think we can get enough people to help us, not do it all, but at least help us with these receptacles that are close to their businesses. So that's something that we will definitely work on and see how we can get some help with John to have these things empty.
Yeah, I like the idea of the cigarette butt receptacles. And I also like, it looks like they would have to walk more than a block and a half to get outside of the no smoking area.
Yeah, it won't be far. They'll be able to get someplace to smoke pretty quick. Now we have an administrator that thinks we should do away with all tobacco products. I don't know how. I'm not going to go ask somebody to open their mouth and pull down their lip to see if they've got some dip in their lip. So, but the other thing that we really should think about is the vape pens, the vaporizer for the, of course, marijuana you can't do in public, but the tobacco vaporizers. Should we ask those not to be used in the district also, or should we still allow that if we want to?
I think we should do both.
Get rid of both?
I think so. I'm not a smoker, so that's why I think, yeah. So it's easy for me to say, but yeah, I think it would be healthier in both ways.
And those vaporize, I don't know if you've been around somebody, but they take a big old puff of it and they blow it out and it looks like a building's on fire. I've seen people at a stoplight and all of a sudden come out.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, I'm for that.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll craft a resolution with a diagram of where we can and come up with a plan. John Kane will come up with a plan for us and how we should locate the areas that will allow it, and we'll bring that back to council to adopt a resolution for. All right. And to tell you the truth, I've actually been out talking to citizens in the community, business owners, and some of the general public, and they think it is a great idea. Now I know that I believe they did this in Pearl Street in Boulder. No pushback, everybody complies, no big deal. So we're not Boulder, we're better than that, and we can make it happen in a good way. All right, that's all I have. Good job, council. Thanks for hanging in here and being through by 8:50. It's not too bad anyway. So everybody have a great evening and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Night.
Everybody.
Hi, everyone.